it started out as how I sold 22 people into the One Funnel Away challenge, made $2,200 in a week and quit my job. And then it became how I went from negative in my bank to making 6 figures in 4 months. And it's like how I did that without paid ads and a huge following. And now those two things were like, whoa, tell me that again. Like, Doug, how did you do that without paid ads?
The internet has made it easier than ever to start a business. Succeeding on the internet, now that's another story. The big question is, what are those who are succeeding doing differently? This podcast has the answers. Hi, my name is Lisanne Murphy. I've spent the last 3 years running a successful advertising agency. I noticed with certain clients, I ran into the same problem over and over again. Their offering was just not grabbing the prospect's heart and wrestling them into purchasing submission. Why? Many of these business owners were so far down the road in their journey and so in love with their product, they forgot who they were serving, missing some essential steps along the way. So, I'm pivoting focus. Join me as I go behind the scenes with the most brilliant entrepreneur minds to demystify the nitty-gritty marketing hacks needed to be successful before spending thousands on advertising that ultimately separate the internet legends from the dreamers. On the previous episode, we heard from Jason Wright. Jason is a good friend of mine and the real deal when it comes to having a killer mindset and setting up your technology properly to help your business grow smoothly. So make sure to go back and listen to his episode. But stick around because I have my good friend Doug Boughton coming up next. Doug understands the power of leveraging other people's products to get a head start in your entrepreneurial journey. From broke to 6 figures in 6 weeks, this guy absolutely knows his stuff and is all heart as he gives his everything to his clients. Super excited for you to hear what he has to say. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy. I'm so excited to be here on the call today with Doug. Doug, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Oh, me too. I just want to take a minute. I'm going to introduce this amazing entrepreneur, and then I'm going to give him a chance to share about who he is, how he's become this the ClickFunnels affiliate junkie juggernaut, and we're gonna learn a lot from him today. So I'm super excited. So Doug Boughton started his own agency while helping a restaurant that he was employed by building a website that utilizes a new software as a service product in 2015 known as ClickFunnels. So you were getting into it like at the beginning. I love it. In November 2019, Doug had it with working with his full-time job and he wanted to focus on his business. At this point, he had a negative $414 in the bank. He was behind on his student loans. So he decided to channel his passion and help others grow their income. And he made over $100,000 of pure profit in 4 months. Guys, that's amazing. I just want to tell you how amazing that is. Boughton now provides sales funnel education and consulting services through his online program called Sales Funnel Mastery. His mission is to help business owners implant and automate sales systems that maximize revenue in less time to create effortless and efficiency in their business. So we are so excited, Doug. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I know it's the third person there. My friend, actually, the copywriter, wrote that introduction for me. And I'm like, it's so hard to write about yourself. You know what I mean?
It really is.
He's like, I got you. I'll write this up for you. And I think he did a pretty good job. And that pretty much explains everything that happened. I didn't go back into like the further analysis of like when I first got started, like all the debt and the reasons why I got involved in all this. So hopefully we'll dive into that in this episode.
I love that. We totally are. Yeah. So I would love for you to just give us a snapshot, and you can start as early as you want, even if it's in diapers, but like how early, like tell us about your journey of how you came into the internet marketing world and becoming passionate about helping people use ClickFunnels and affiliates.
Yeah. And it's like for entrepreneurship, at least, I was always kind of excited about working for myself at a young age. Like I had a paper out at age 15 and it was me and my brother. I have a twin brother. And we had our bikes. We used to race BMX. So we had bikes and put bags on them to like deliver these newspapers every day. And I'm not a morning person, never have been, but I just got excited about waking up every day to go, deliver newspapers. But it was more about generating my own income and having, not having to rely on my mom to give us the money that she works hard for, because she was single with 3 kids at the age of 24 at the time. So she had us really young. And yeah, we started with 1 paper route. We got 2 more routes once we proved ourselves. And then we even, were hanging out with other neighborhood kids who had paper routes and like, hey, you don't want that paper route. You should let us have it. So we ended up with 6 paper routes total in about a year and a half. And we did pretty well. I mean, we were just kind of like, how many paper routes could we possibly handle? Let's keep them coming. And then my younger brother was even at the age of where he could help us out now. So yeah, I started young. And then, even like the whole idea of going to college, I felt like I had to do it, right? Like we have our elders and even our peers asking us, where are you going to school? What are you going to study? And if you said like you're not, you just get that like, oh, really? Like, why aren't you going to college? Why aren't you doing that? And then with my peers, it was like the pressure of like being cool. Like I didn't want to say I'm going to a community college or even a state school for that matter. So for me, like I just was stubborn. I'm like, I want to go to a private school in the city, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. And I'd never even read like my loan paperwork or anything. I just signed it and went, right? And what I didn't realize was the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans and how I was accruing interest from day one. So I took out over the course of 4 years, it was $56,000 in loans, which isn't crazy considering the school I went to is $50,000 a year. And that 56,000 with accrued interest at the end of the 4 years turned into $114,000 of student loan debt. And I remember getting that call. It was 6 months after I dropped out of college. I was back here in Connecticut, and I dropped out because I couldn't get a co-signer for my senior year of college. My mom and grandmother both co-signed, and they wanted a third co-signer, and I didn't really have options to ask anybody. So I ended up just saying, you know what, I'm going to go do this I was in a management training program going door to door for a Staples subsidiary called Quill. And I liked it. It was a 100% commission job. But again, like I'm creating my own schedule and income. And I really loved that idea. But yeah, I dropped out $140,000 worth of debt. And even with that sales job, even with part-time restaurant jobs, I still wasn't covering bills. And it was just like, how much more do I need to do just to cover my bills? I'm not even like living a life, right? So I got introduced to internet marketing. And at the time it was more of the network marketing side of things, like building teams and training. And I thought it was really interesting. But as I realized, I was just hopping around business to business. I think I counted up the other day between 8-year period from when I left college to my mid to late 20s, I had gone through 27 different business opportunities. And sometimes I was working multiple at one time, right? So just shiny object syndrome, typical things a lot of early on entrepreneurs deal with. And I failed forward really hard. With that, I just got burnt out because I was building up massive sales teams all over the country and world, some places. 2015, I had built up my biggest residual income. So it's monthly recurring income with a company called Canaway. And I was making about $8,000 a month with that. And, at that point, I'm like, you know what? I could leave my sales job and both my restaurant jobs and just focus on this. And then they changed the entire commission structure. They lost their CEO and then brought a whole new team in and just changed the entire commission structure. And I went from a team of a few hundred people making the money I was making each month, and everybody left. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Like MLM, see you later. Like it's just so iffy. You never know where it's going to be one day and the next. And I left. And from there, I went full-time sales. And then I had I always had at least 1 or 2 restaurant jobs just because I thought it was cool to create your own schedule. And, the cash was good to pay the student loans back. But I knew that like I wanted to do more. Like I wanted to create. And I loved getting into like landing pages and websites. And at the time I was using WordPress and Optimized Press, which I'm not techie. I had no clue what I was doing. It would take me like hours and hours just to even create a simple landing page. And then I came across ClickFunnels, and it just spoke to me. Like I saw this developer and this random girl in a fighting rink, like an octagon rink. And they weren't fighting, but they were sitting down at computers and they were going head to head in a landing page build off. And they had 10 minutes to build the landing page. And of course, one was a developer and the other one was using ClickFunnels. And I'm like, it just grabbed my attention. I'm like, I need this software. This is amazing. How do I get it? And I signed up to ClickFunnels 14-day free trial. and I created my website. At the time, it was pretty horrible, but it was a really cool learning curve. And I realized I could make landing pages and websites really simple, really quickly with this software. But I ended up dropping ClickFunnels like twice just because $97 a month at the time was like, oh, this is a lot of money. I looked at it as a bill and not an investment. I didn't know the potential earnings that I could create with ClickFunnels. And I kept coming back to it. Like it was after like my third time dropping, I finally came back. This was like October of 2017. And I've been with ClickFunnels ever since. So I've always been creating funnels and websites for clients. And that's where I focused on up until I left my full-time job back in last November. Actually, in 3 days, it'll be a full year. I left my full-time job to focus on this full-time. So that's exciting.
Congrats. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean,
and that's not it. I know it's not it.
Yeah, that was, I knew I wanted to leave my job. I call it 2 years notice because it was like 2 years ago. I knew I wanted to, like 3 years now. I really wanted to get out of the restaurants. I was working nights, weekends, holidays, missing weddings and just the big family functions. And it got to the point where like friends weren't even calling me because they just assumed I'm working. And I was always working, and I just wanted out, and I didn't have the courage to just leave. So I'm like, you know what, how can I really make a plan where I know I have enough revenue coming in to cover my bills, and then I could focus solely on the thing I want to create. The problem was I was focusing on many things. I was focusing on not only that full-time restaurant job, but I was also focusing on a course that I created to help people get out of debt, which, we say the obstacle is the way, right? Like, what am I hiding from? What truth can I tell people that will set them free? Like, what are the struggles I've faced and have overcome, or at least I'm working towards overcoming, that if I got more vulnerable and told the truth about, that could inspire them to do the same. I'm like, well, my debt has been the biggest struggle of my life. I've been paying it back, and here's how I do it. So I was creating a debt relief course, credit repair course. And then I was doing my clients' work for ClickFunnels landing pages and websites. And then I had the whole affiliate thing going on, promoting ClickFunnels. So when I left my job, I was like, I need to really just focus, because, you're never gonna get anywhere doing all these things. So I quit my job on November 30th, 2018. And then what happened from there was I just focused on my client work. So I had 6 clients at the time. They were all restaurants. I was building landing pages to increase their volume for birthday dinners and anniversary celebrations. So I was running Facebook ads in a 10-mile radius around those restaurants for upcoming birthdays on Facebook and upcoming anniversaries, and would say, hey, someone has a birthday coming up, or hey, someone has an anniversary coming up, come join with us. They download the voucher, they come in, we document that, we document how much they spend. And I think for $5 a day, we generated, it was about a little over $5,000 for one client the first month I did this. So I'm like, all right, they gave me $120 in ad spend. We brought them in over $5,000. And that's just the first time they came in. Now, that's not the lifetime value of a customer. So I'm like, I'm onto something big here. I could go get a bunch of clients doing this for restaurants, but me working in hospitality, I know that restaurants aren't the easiest clients to work with. It's hard to get to the decision makers. They're super skeptical, and they're cheap. I'm not gonna lie, not to judge anybody, but I just know from experience they have to be, because the margins are so little. But what happened was, December, right around Christmas time, of course, like one of the times of the year, like you just really need the income for gifts and all that fun stuff. I went negative from December all the way up until February in my bank, because I lost 3 clients. The other client I was chasing for content, another client I was chasing to get paid. And I'm like, great, I have to go back to my restaurant job. I have to crawl back, as they said I would, to ask for weekend shifts. I have to go pick up some banquet shifts. But I realized, like, maybe clients aren't the way to go. Maybe I just need to do a new model. And I'm like, well, what do I like about the client model? And the only thing I could find that I actually liked about the client model was the recurring commissions I was making on their ClickFunnels account. So I'm like, okay, I make X amount of dollars each month per client I sign up to ClickFunnels. How can I go get 100 people using ClickFunnels? And I just kind of modeled what I saw other successful affiliates in ClickFunnels doing. People like Spencer Meekum and Rachel S. Lee and Tyler S. Clark and James Hurst, all the dream car winners. And I'm like, well, they all have a Facebook group. They all have a tribe. They all have offers that they're creating and kind of help their affiliates along the way. So I just modeled the exact exactly that.
I love that. I love that. Were you going to keep going?
Yeah. So what the first thing I did was I was super nervous about having a Facebook group, but I knew I had to do this. I knew I had to get uncomfortable or nothing was going to change. Like, what's more uncomfortable, failing on a live video for the first few weeks or whatever, or having to go back to that job that I knew I hated and just being comfortable there. So I got uncomfortable, went live in my Facebook group. I started it January 9th. I had about 118 people waiting to join the group or whatever, because I just didn't want to let everybody in. I'm like, oh, once I hit accept all, I'm going to have to go live. And like, I don't want to have to do that. So I put it off until the moment I'm like, you know what, just do this thing. I opened up my group. I welcomed them all. I broke out in hives. I got so nervous. Like, it was crazy. I went to go take a shower after. I'm like, what is this? I'm like broken out. I'm like, man, and I was talking about getting uncomfortable, right? Just like, but it's a good uncomfortable stress. And what I did was I offered them a free ClickFunnels course. And what I thought about is like, man, I struggled for so many years with ClickFunnels because I'm paying this $97 a month and I don't even know how to make money with it. And then I've identified like, well, how are the ways I've made money with this, whether it was consistent or not? I identified 5 ways. Number 1 was I could create and design funnels, which I sold into the marketplace at the time. My second revenue source was doing lead generation for local businesses. And the third one, I had created an info product, created one thing once, created a sales funnel and sold it over and over again. I even tried selling physical products, which that was kind of a flop. That didn't work out for me. And then lastly, the affiliate. So that's 5 different ways that people could use ClickFunnels to make money. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna call my Facebook group Sales Funnel Mastery, 5 ways to monetize ClickFunnels. So now I'm like, well, I don't want everyone focusing on 5 ways. Like, they have to come in and I have to create a strategy where they could identify the one way they want to pursue and give them the exact step-by-step process of how they could go do that. And that's when Sales Funnel Mastery was born. So I created that free course. Everyone who joins the group gets that free course. And that course obviously is designed to help them get their initial result, make some money with ClickFunnels so that they don't see it as a bill, but rather an investment that they could scale and grow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love it. Okay. So I want to kind of dive into this story a little bit. So as you share your history, and I think that most people's lives are like this, like you know you're going somewhere, but you don't necessarily know like the exact path, and like it evolves over time. But like what is like that key destination or achievement that you're going for? And at what point did that become for you like, this is what I'm shooting for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that even now, I don't know if you saw a post I recently made, but it was basically, you don't have to know how the future is going to unfold for you right now to be really good. And I always said, when I get this, I'll be happy. But I realized I need to be happy now with what I have. And that's when things started clicking for me. I know it's such a crazy mindset thing that people are like, oh, that's woo woo, but it is so real. And even now, like, I don't know if I've shared this with anyone, but I was at a ClickFunnels event. I got invited to speak at a McCall Mastermind. It was the top 10 One Funnel Away Challenge leaderboard members. So we got to go to ClickFunnels headquarters. We met Russell, hung out with his team. They drove us up to Lake McCall. They got us jet skis and boats for the weekend. And we had our like 3 meals catered a day. It was just an amazing event. Steven Larson was there, Rachel, Alex, Elliott, a bunch of big affiliates. And at the end, we had to share our biggest takeaway. And I went up there and I just like started crying. And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, you said an amazing week. I'm like, I know I did, but like, I just feel like so behind everyone. Like, I feel like you guys all have your level 10, they call it your level 10 idea. You have your big idea. Like, Steven Larson has his offer mind and his offer lab, and he's teaching people about offers. I'm over here, like, still in the affiliate world. And I'm like, just limiting beliefs all day long. Right. And I broke down, and then Steven got up. He's like, dude, like, he's having the passion crisis, I think he called it. He doesn't know his passion. He says, just let it evolve. And that's where I am right now. I'm just building out the things I've done well to get results. And as that opens up more space for me to create, my business is evolving. And to tell you where I'll be in 5 to 10 years, I don't 100% know. I think that I really want to help focus on beginners in this space, because they're always left out. And like, everyone's ideal avatar is someone making $5,000 to $10,000 online that they want to help get to the next level. Well, what about the people that aren't at the $5,000 to $10,000 mark? We're leaving so many people out there on the table. People like myself, where I was, and I had no help. So I'm really dedicated to that. And I've even had people like, are you sure you want to work with beginners like that? I'm like, I am. I'm positive, and I want to find the space to give them the creativity that they could create their own programs, or if they want to do affiliate and start there and then transition to their own programs and things like that. So I think that's kind of the direction of where I'm going, but I think leveraging momentum is the answer you're looking for. And the answer I want to give is because that's all I've done. Like, it started out as how I sold 22 people into the One Funnel Away challenge, made $2,200 in a week and quit my job. Right. So I took that little result, which is actually pretty cool. I think it's hard to, for someone to make $2,200 their first week starting this kind of thing. And then it grew to how I went from negative in my bank account to making $34,000 the next month. And then it became how I went from negative in my bank to making six figures in 4 months. And those kind of like, I know it's just like, it's kind of baity, but it's intriguing and it's true. And it's like how I did that without paid ads and a huge following. And now those two things were like, whoa, tell me that again. Like, Doug, how did you do that without paid ads? How did you do that without a big following? Because most people starting out don't want to spend money on ads. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't have a message that's working organically, and they certainly don't have a following. So I think by helping people focus on organic marketing strategies, whatever route they pursue, I think those are key. Just helping people realize the messaging, get it working organically, and then they could scale it later on.
I love that. You're dropping so many nuggets. I really, really appreciate it. So I love that concept of letting it evolve, because I think a lot of people don't act because they don't feel like they have that, like you say, that level 10 goal, or like that 10,000 foot view of like what exactly they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I love how you've just like said, what's the next step? Mm-hmm. So tell me, like, what is like your core motivating factor? And maybe it is like these newbies that you don't want them to be left out, and you don't want them to just fall off because they don't have the help they need. But like, what is that motivating force for you to let your goals evolve over time?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I mean, I'm trying to think of the wording here, but like, I've always had a lot of people watching me over the last 10 years just failing, like, oh, Doug's got another big idea. Let's see what happens here. And, most people that don't understand what we do, they are comfortable. They are driven by society norms and like, go to college, get a degree, get into debt, get into more debt with a home, all that stuff. And like, that's all great, but it's just, I knew it wasn't for me. And it just honestly, like, I hate to say it, but it feels good to like finally do something remarkable and have everyone be like, wow, like, congratulations. Like, I know it's like, what's the word? Like, approval seeking, I guess, but it does feel good. And that's not my main motivator, but I try to do things not only for myself, but for others. And like, now I've got my mom starting her Facebook group, my brother's thinking about what his group could be around. And, it's like, I know we're meant for bigger things, and our goal here isn't just to work for somebody else. And maybe, some people don't have that drive or that entrepreneurial spirit that we have, and a job's perfect for them. Like, that's not who my message is for. My message is for people that feel trapped, who are being told not to do that. Like, up until a few months ago, when I started really getting loud about my success, I guess, like, I tried to hide it from family and friends or whatever. But as that word got out, like, they stopped sending me job applications. Family stopped asking me to go back to school. Like, when do you go back and finish that degree? And friends were like, hey, I got this job you should check out. But then they heard about like how I was doing. They're like, wait, could you hire me? Could I help you? And like, can I learn what you're doing? So that became interesting. But yeah, it was always just
that
motivating.
Became interesting.
I'm nice. I gave shots to people. My brother was my first hire. He actually works with me. He just left. And he's been helping me out a lot, which is really cool. He's in college. He's a 21 marketing degree. And I'm really kind of teaching him like my idea of marketing, not just SWOT analysis that you learn in school. So I think he's getting both the best worlds right now. And I want to continue to help my family. And if they want to go down this route, like, I am willing to help, So I think that things that motivate me are definitely results for people. Like, I know it's only $100, but I've helped. My first phrase was, I want to help 1,000 people make their first $1,000 online, because if you can make 1,000, you can make a million. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the same process. It's just by systematizing or making systems and processes in place, and not doing it alone is clutch. And I've been trying to do it alone all the way up until recently. And I finally started hiring people to help me, and I'm still having a hard time of giving them things to do. Like, I still want to do it all, but the more I trust and open up and just let go, the more I know we could grow together and help more people get results. And I get these snapshots in my Facebook group all the time. Like, hey, Doug, I just made my first sale, made my first commission. I hit the one comma club, and I'm like, I just get so pumped up from that, because that first win is amazing. Like, I remember when I wasn't making money, I was just excited to get a lead, right? Just like a lead. That's not even a monetary value. But when you make that next level, and now you've made your first commissions and you're paying for your costs, and now you're breaking even, now you're in a profit, it's so much easier to scale that to a, six-figure business where you can now quit your job and have more space to evolve and scale.
I love that. That's so powerful. And for those of you that are just being introduced to Doug, I've had the opportunity to interact with him at events, and he is the real deal, and he's as genuine as they come. And so I just love as you share about your joy and your love to help your family and the people that are in your community, because I personally have been the beneficiary of that, as we're, standing outside a ballroom waiting to go into an event. Like, you just really focus in, and you're a pleasure to be around and to talk
Thank
to.
you.
So you're the
I
real deal.
appreciate that. And I want more beautiful people like ourselves to experience these, I know it sounds like corny, but I want more people to be free so they can come to these events to really expand their knowledge and get the ideas they need to take their business to the next level. Because the more people that we could get, network with and get closer with, the more this community grows. I think it's just awesome. So one of my goals is I have a lot of people in my group right now that are so close, and I'm like, I just want you guys to leave your jobs so you could travel and make, impact and come to these events. Because when you get in rooms with the entrepreneurs that we've been meeting at these events, like you were at Unlock the Secrets, Funnel Hacking Live, and I think I went to 14 events this year. I went a little overboard, but every time I'm in these rooms, I just meet the most amazing people and connections. And a lot of my success has come from those relationships that I'm building. So the more people I could get in our world doing the same thing, I think we could just have so much more reach.
I love that. Well, I would love, since you're a guy who just tells your story as it really is, as you've been developing this community and helping these people, what has been the biggest struggle that you've faced as you've quit your job, jumped into this world full time, hiring a team? You've taken on a lot of responsibility. So what has been your biggest struggle on this journey?
Yeah, my biggest struggle is definitely doing things that I don't stand for, like over promising and under delivering, because I'm just an idea person. I have these awesome ideas, and I get excited and I speak about it. And then when it comes to fulfillment, I'm like, I need a team to help me do this, because I just promise so many things that I can't possibly do alone. And even now that I've had a team, my biggest struggle is giving them things to do, just letting go, trusting the process, trusting them. And now we're doing daily huddles. So we just got off our first daily huddle, and it's if I could just have these little 10, 15-minute meetings with them each day to keep us all on the same page. And I know that they're getting things done, and I'm being held accountable to get the things done I need to do. I just think that our growth is going to explode this next year. So I'm really excited for that. But that's been a huge struggle for me, is just really fulfilling on everything I want to create, because there's so many ideas, right? We're entrepreneurs. We have we have the big ideas, but we need a team to help us kind of stay on focus and get those things completed.
Yeah. And how has your world changed with opening yourself up and delegating and letting other people help with your goals?
I just feel more at peace. There were days where I didn't want to get out of bed because I'm just so overwhelmed, and I'm having, those things that come up: shiny object syndrome, perfectionism. And, I identified 10 of these self-sabotage patterns that we fall into. And then what I realized is, well, why are these things happening? And I identified why they happen. And then once I knew why they happen, I could identify the solutions to prevent them. And I actually created entire training around it, kind of like a mindset thing. And, mindset really is massive, but it was so crippling. I literally just was I'm not really a depressed person, but like I didn't want to get out of bed because I didn't want to face the overwhelm of the day. And I realized if I could just clear my space, like this office, what didn't look like this even 6 months ago, I went and revamped this entire office, cleaned the space, and just made it more like welcoming. Like I liked being in my office. Before I would hang out over there in the other room, not even like coming in here. So I changed my environment, and then I created, I hired my first help. So I hired help, I hired a mentor. And then from there, I just created systems and processes and a calendar. And those 6 things put me on such like a productive mode. And again, I just feel like at peace now. I could wake up, not have that burden or stress on my shoulders, to know that there's a team behind me, pushing me and motivating me. And I'm helping them too. Like my goal is not to have them working for me in a year from now. Like I want them to go out and do their own thing and like take what they need, help me. And then, constantly, like, I just want to push people to do their own thing because I think everyone should and could.
I love that. I love that. And you're like, I'm doing it. I'm not trying to tell someone to do something that I haven't done myself.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Okay. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about, like, get into some of the marketing tactics that you use in your own business and that you help your community use for success. So you mentioned earlier that you have those 5 ways that people can monetize their ClickFunnels account. And one of my favorite topics that you said that you could talk about is a 6-step process to diversify income through passive income streams. Mm-hmm. So I'd love for you to speak into that, if that's something that's like top of mind for you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the 6-step process basically looks like this. What I identified was, well, what am I selling? What is my goal? And what do I want to do? Right. And what I realized is, well, I'm selling ClickFunnels and ClickFunnels products. And the first thing I need to do is identify an audience who needs ClickFunnels, right? Who is my ideal audience? And once you identify the audience that is likely to buy the thing you're selling, find out what the number one problem is. For ClickFunnels users, it was that they're not making money with it. So how could I help people make money with ClickFunnels? Step 2 was create a template, a course, a challenge, or giveaway that will allow people to start generating their first revenue with ClickFunnels, whether it's their own products, physical products. Maybe they don't have any products at all. They just want to sell ClickFunnels as an affiliate. So that's what I did. I created this free course. And then to get that free course, they had to join my Facebook group. So step 3 was create a platform or community to gather these people in, right? Like create the congregation. And I did. I created a Facebook group and I said, hey, join my free Facebook group. And when you do, you're going to get this course and it's free. And this is what it is and why you should do this. And for me, it was like everything I wish I had when I found ClickFunnels. I wish I had these simple to the point tutorials where, oh, I need to create a custom domain. Well, here's a little 5-minute video. There's no fluff or stories or 2 hours just to learn this little thing. It was 5 minutes and it shows you click by click, step by step. So that's what my free course became. And then to get people to join the group, step 4, created my Facebook funnel. And if you guys are like, what the heck is that? If you look at my Facebook profile, it starts with your profile is essentially a sales page. You have your billboard or cover photo, and that's advertising my Facebook group. And then my feature photo, same thing. It says, get my free course, click here to join the group. And if you click on my Facebook profile, there's 4 different areas to join my Facebook group. On the cover photo, my profile photo, my featured photo, in my bio link. So if someone's like, how do I join your group? I'm just like, it's not hard to find. Go look. But, and then my posts, like if you go to my wall, like my mom tags me in all these things and I love her, but I always hide her stuff because it's not relevant to what I'm doing. Right. And I have, most of my posts are story posts, where I've been, where I'm going. They're customer or client testimonials. They are donations. I like to donate and give back a lot. And I think that resonates with a certain audience. And I'll leave those on there. Sometimes I do too many. I might have to like delete a couple, but it's all things that like I think create an attractive character, right? And it's not me like faking anything. This is really who I am. When someone looks at your profile on Facebook, it shouldn't be like dog memes, cat videos, things like that. It should be things that people get a sense of who you are. So I created that funnel. When they find my profile, they end up joining my group because of that funnel. They see everything. When they join my group, I ask them 3 questions. Number 1 is, do you have ClickFunnels? Yes or no. Number 2 is a research question. What do you want to learn most? So some people are like, oh, I have a Facebook group, but I have no idea what to teach. Well, ask them. When they join your group, you have the opportunity to ask them 3 questions. Ask them what they want to learn most. And then the third question is their email address. So that is added to my autoresponder automatically with a Chrome extension that I use. And then they start to indoctrination sequence. And that basically, the main first emails are like, welcome to the group. Here's my free course, and log in. And then if they don't log in right away, they get a few more emails until they finally create their username and password. Once they create their username and password, the next sequence is, I want them to know what they're getting and how to get through the free course. Like, let's finish the free course. Let's incentivize them to finish it, because the more people consume your content, the more they'll want the next step. And then from there, they get dumped into my, my soap opera sequence, which is basically me getting real personal with my story. And, stories sell, stories help people feel connected and resonate with you. And then after that sequence is done, they go into my Seinfeld sequence, which is my day-to-day. Here's what happened today. Here's what I learned and why it affects you. So that's all automated. I love how that works. And it's all part of my Facebook funnel, my group funnel. And then step 5, make them an offer they can't refuse. Now they're in your group. They've got your freebie. What's the next step in the journey, right? And for me, I didn't have my own products at the time. So I said, the next best step for someone who's finding ClickFunnels is the One Funnel Away Challenge. So I actually created a webinar. It was automated webinar. It was a video I created, a presentation in the group. I made the pinned post, which means it's at the top of the groups. It's the first thing people see when they join my group. And then everyone that I welcome to the group, I say, hey, start here, go watch this training, how I did X, Y, Z. And they watch the training. And then by the end of it, I'm offering them an offer to buy the One Funnel Away Challenge. And I know that's the next logical step. I know it's the best thing to help people learn funnels. And I think I sold over 600 people in the One Funnel Away Challenge doing that method. So that was over $60,000 I made in that one ClickFunnels product last year. So really powerful. And then step 6 is then the last step is find and engage with your target audience. So like, where's your audience hanging out? What are they struggling with? Go out and help them. Go join the groups that they're in. Offer them help and don't ask for anything in return. And what happened was probably the craziest thing. People in those groups started tagging my name left and right. Whenever someone needed help about something, oh, Doug Boughton, he could help you. Doug Boughton. Like, before I knew it, my name was just being tagged everywhere. And I didn't even mean for that to happen, but just like a byproduct of helping people.
I love that. That is so powerful. And I love how very specific you're being with exactly what you're doing. I think if for anyone who's listening for this, I mean, they could pause every 10 seconds and say, okay, I need to go implement that. Pause. I need to go implement that. And what I also love is that, like, you didn't let the fact that you didn't have a product in the beginning stop you from helping people and making money. Like, you use what was already out there to change people's lives. And as you grew, then you started to create your own course and stuff like that. So that is such a killer and powerful example.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, it's funny, like the fact of not having anything of your own to sell, how I eventually created my paid course, my free course. I said, well, what problems is this creating? Like, always be asking yourself, what problems is this thing creating? And how could, like, the One Funnel Away Challenge, for example, it's just overwhelming. It's so fast paced. People can't keep up. How could I solve that problem for them? So I started, I put together a course. My first product was my OFA bonus mastery course. I just basically recapped all the daily trainings from 2 hours into 15 minutes, gave them notes, and then gave them an exact, how I'm applying it to my business. And I showed them, and within 30 minutes every day, instead of 2 hours, they could do it in 30 minutes, and then have someone like me to ask questions to. So that was my first product. So find out, like, again, like, I don't know what to create. Well, what problems is that first thing creating, and then go create something to solve it. And you're always going to have the next evolution because of that.
I love that so much. It's so powerful. Oh, it's so good. So I would love to give you a minute to speak into, like, you've talked a lot about your Facebook group and how your Facebook group is the place where you foster your community, where you build your community. It's a funnel in itself. Like why Facebook groups? There's
Yeah.
so many out there. Like, why Facebook groups?
And I had so many limiting beliefs with this. Like, who am I to create a Facebook group? There's already thousands of people doing it. What makes me unique? What makes me different? And a lot of people struggle with that question. And for me, again, like one of the biggest takeaways from this year was the obstacle is the way. Like my failing for 8 years online is the way. Like I could tell that story and people resonate with it so much. And then they find out why things started to work and click for me. And that just, I think, really will help people see the next step for them. So for me, like starting that Facebook group, it was hard, but I realized like, how am I different? And what have I been doing to have success? And how could I have more success with that? And then teach people how to do the same thing. So a lot of people starting out don't even really want to look. Like they'll say, I don't know. And I love this. One of my favorite things recently, I kept saying, I don't know. And my mentor at the time was like, it means you don't want to look. You're saying you don't know, but what I'm hearing is you don't want to look. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. So a lot of people just don't want to look. Like they don't want to talk about the struggles they've been through. But the minute they realize the struggles that they've had, that they're overcoming or have overcome, and they can get vulnerable and speak to that, how many people that will resonate with. And that's your audience. I think that your audience is people a lot like yourself. So dig deep, find out what problems you've solved for yourself and how you can solve it for others. And that's your group idea. But groups might go away, but the ideas and the principles never will. There always will be a new platform. There will always be a new congregation where people are hanging out. And just identify those locations and go get your dream clients and help them. Just give value.
Yeah, well, especially like I'll just put in a little plug as someone who owns a social media advertising agency. Facebook is hyping groups right now. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the commercials on TV that groups are really where they're moving, because they're trying to make sure that Facebook is used as a community where people can find their people. Right. And so they're hyping up groups and they're showing groups to people. And so to have a group that fulfills a specific purpose for a specific audience is a really, really powerful tool for business growth. You've seen that in yours. I've seen it in mine as well. And so, I mean, if we're following the trends of how Facebook is adjusting and changing the platform, like groups really are where it's at.
Absolutely. I think they're going to keep putting, I've seen TV commercials, billboards for Facebook group advertisements. And, I'm sure there'll become a place in time where they treat them like pages and now you have to pay to play. I think that's the direction they're going. How can we build this where everyone in America has a Facebook group? And now for them to reach their target audience, we're going to charge them. And right now it's free. So get in and start a group and just start building it, because I get probably 20 to 40 leads per day of people joining my group that get added to my email list. 25% of them say they don't have ClickFunnels, and I reach out to those people that say no, they don't have ClickFunnels, and that's how I hit the dream card in 66 days, because I was reaching out to those no's and providing value and making them an offer to sign up to ClickFunnels with me, right? So no matter what you're selling or doing, it's a great way to get free leads.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, Doug, man, you have pulled out the stops for us today. I just want to thank you so much. I've got one last question for you. Mm-hmm. And that question is, we've talked a lot about some of the forward-facing things that you've accomplished and that have come into your business, and the conferences that you've been able to attend because of your success. But what are some of the behind-the-scenes transformations that have happened for you as you've been on this journey?
Yeah, I've struggled. Like back in June, I almost quit everything. I was in a down place. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And again, that's when I actually created that training, 6 things you could do right now to get unstuck. I think I called it like something like F getting stuck, right? Because we all get stuck no matter where we are in our business, whether you're brand new or you're a 7-figure earner, we're always going to hit new ceilings. And when we hit those ceilings, it's kind of like transitioning in life, like how you transition from, middle school to high school. And there's always that fear, like it's going to be so much different and so hard. But really, it's just something new and uncomfortable. But once you get there, you're like laughing because like, oh, that was it? Like, that's it? So for me, it's kind of keeping that in mind. And sometimes I have to go back and literally just like watch that video again, because I go over the 10 things. that bring us down. Things like comparing ourselves to others, and things like being a perfectionist, or having shiny object syndrome, all those things, right? And I've realized we have to just break through and experience. And once you experience it, you realize it was actually really easy transition. But yeah, behind the scenes, like things like that, like again, like not knowing where my business is going to be in 6 to 12 months, like how it's going to evolve and change, the overwhelm, the uncertainty is definitely scary. But some things I do is just focus on my day to day. What do I need to do today to create the life I want to live? And then like 2 months ago, another hiccup I had was, well, my business is doing really well. This is amazing, but I don't feel like I'm the best version of myself. So I took a step back and I really looked inside, and like, if I don't feel like $1 million, there's no way my business is going to hit $1 million in revenue, which is my first big goal, as most are, right? The 2 Comma Club, the coveted 2 Comma Club. And I started working hard. I set goals. I wanted to lose 25 pounds. I want to do things in my adult life I've never done in my life before. Like I want to have a 6-pack. I want to, feel good and feel light, because I think if you take care of yourself and you have a good routine, anything is possible. Really, anything is possible. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm halfway to my goals right now. And the goal is funnel hacking live. So I've got 2 months left, and I know I'll do it, but I'm really focused on my health and just my mental and emotional health too. So it's kind of like, I put those things on my calendar first. What do I need to do today to feel the best so I could go out there and be my best?
I love that. And I can speak to that. I mean, I've been on my own health journey this year, and it's been great, but I just will double that testament that you got to take care of yourself for you to make a real impact in your business, because you're helping people. And if you're not serving yourself and making sure you're at a high level, it's going to be really hard to help the people around us.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that. Well, I just want to, again, thank you so much for being on the show today. And so if you've been listening and you've heard Doug talk about his Facebook group and his course that he gives for those that join that, I'm a part of his group, and I've looked at that course, and he does not hold back the value. So we're going to put the link to those in the notes so that you guys can go ahead and join that community and get the help from the amazing Doug. Do you want to say anything else about the course and the group?
Yeah, that's it's my main thing. It's my baby. I love that group. I love everybody in it. My funnel fam, I call them. And it's definitely the best place to get a hold of me, because I live in there. I literally am in there every day. And I just try to think of how could I affect the lives of everybody in here today? What could I do to bring them the value they need? What do you guys need? You know what I mean? So I love that group, Sales Funnel Mastery. I'd love to see you guys in there.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Well, we will for sure post those links, and thanks so much for sharing about that community and the value that you put into it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We've loved having you on the show today.
And thank you guys for listening. All of you guys out there watching and listening.
Thank you for tuning into the Marketing Matrix podcast. On the next episode, we hear from Jeffrey Bannock. Jeffrey is a master funnel builder and built the funnel for Kevin David that did over 7 figures in sales in record-breaking time. His story of how he found ClickFunnels and got his start in this online world is absolutely incredible. So click over to the next episode to give it a listen. And while I've got you, wanted to, of course, remind you about the Marketing Matrix Toolbox. Guys, if you're not in there yet, you've got to go and join. This resource has tons of free marketing tools to make your marketing journey easier. We add new content to it each week. So to get access to that, go to toolbox.themarketingmatrixpodcast.com. And if you're more into having conversations around marketing, heck, join the Toolbox, but then come over to the Facebook group. My Facebook group, called Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Brands, is interacting with people every single day, helping them with their marketing and specifically with their Facebook ads to get people scaling their business in no time. So join that group at www.facebook.com/groups/FBAdNinjas. All right, guys, that's it for now. See you next time on the Marketing Matrix.